Hey Camden, this is Adrian Gomez. Just excited to see what we can find. So out of your back leg, we can see this back angle is about 99 degrees, which is pretty phenomenal. It's pretty good. So you're doing a great job of driving off that back leg, which is a great start to everything. Moving into the next phase, you plant heel toe, and you have very, very good flexibility in your hips, about 119 degrees, which is also a positive. So the back leg squat and the extension of the leg is phenomenal. As we get in, let's look at this real quick. Your back foot. Your back foot stays on and drags and continues to provide balance to your upper body, which is phenomenal. Your front knee is where we need to work. So when you plant your front knee, you plant it 124 and then it comes back. And let's see what it looks like after you retract. 153, which is not bad. If we could land, instead of landing at 124, if you could land at 153, you're going to be able to start driving that chest sooner. And right now, your chest has to wait just a little bit of time before it starts to drive. And that's where you're going to make up some serious, well, I think you slid a little bit. That's probably why. Yeah, I think you're sliding. So, but generally, you are landing pretty low. That's too low of an angle. It needs to be a higher angle. 153, somewhere in there, is pretty dang good. That extension looks phenomenal right there. Also, as you drive, your upper body, your hips are kind of opening really, really early, and you want to lead with that butt a little bit more. You're opening up that front side a little bit too early, and I think if you were a little bit later on that front leg planting, you'd be able to really drive and throw with your more of your body. So let's look also at the front knee. We're going to look at this movement of your knee. Your knee moves side to side, and so we don't want that to happen as much. We want to be very, very minimal as far as your hip movement. So that knee that is internally rotated, and that needs to be fixed. There's some drills to work on that online with the Arm Pro program. You just click on internally rotated front knee, and then it'll have access to all of the drills to fix it. Okay, so that is in and of itself the lower half. The biggest thing is your front knee, both internally rotated and your knee is planted at 124. It needs to be planted at a higher angle. It's going to reduce the amount of time that your knee needs to come back to be able to drive your chest through. So let's move into posture. So right here, you're what we call a B close to a C posture. Probably a B posture. What that means is when you come back up, this is your posture here. Okay, when you start, and when you finish, your posture is completely changed. And so what we want to do is, with that posture, I want to come back and I want this chest to start back at least even. What that's going to do is reduce the amount of head movement, and that's going to allow you to rotate your upper body better. So see how you kind of your chest goes down, and then I have to come back to go get it. You're going to start back together instead of forward. You're going to start back. Now, this is very contrary to most what the old school way of pitching, but it's going to allow you to rotate a lot faster and more efficiently, putting less stress on your arm. So try it. I think you'll find that it's a lot easier to throw. Also, command will go up as well. So let's keep going. So as you extend, we're going to look at release point. Your release point right here, and you can start seeing it in the video. The ball's out of your fingers. Zoom out, see where you're at. You're releasing the ball almost behind your heel, which means that we need to fix it. This is what we call a marginal launch, if not a late launch. Sorry, I'm yawning. It's an early launch, so it's too early. I would like to get out past your front foot, an extension out here. I know that seems crazy, but it's going to be able to increase your command. It's going to be more movement on the ball. You're going to have more consistency out front, and your arm's going to feel a lot better. So if we change that, everything's going to get a lot better. So let's there's drills on that on release point as well. So moving into our stacking. Okay, you do a good job of staying inside of this ankle. You do a good ankle mobility here, but I think you could do an even better job. What I'd like to see happen is this foot angled in, the toe inside a little bit more, and this knee inside, and that's going to be able to allow you to drive that hip a lot faster and right off the bat, and that way you're going to be able to get inside and start pushing. So that stacking needs to improve. This stacking needs to improve as well, because what's happening is instead of your upper body going back with your head over your toe, your head's going forward. Not only forward in front of you, but it's going forward this way as well, which is not what we want. We want to stay back. Our head's back, and our head needs to be over this foot. So we need to rotate your upper body back further to stay back behind it. That knee's inside, and then you're going to be able to really explode and throw with more of your body. It's going to be a lot easier. So upper body stacking is what we call stacking. Stacking needs to get better. There's drills on that. It is awesome. You're going to be able to change right away. This is something that you could add 2 or 3 miles an hour to your velocity very, very, very quickly. So try it. Please work on stacking. So moving into the next phase, our next phase is a front glove, firm front glove. So as you come out, you pinch and you come down. I'd like to start out, and I'd like to just start so your arm's almost straight. I'd like to see this at 90 degrees so that you're able to pinch with your elbow and get your shoulder pinched to be able to get around that backside. And you'll see that you have an equal and opposite motion. You see how it just mirrors everything. So the front side, if the front side was pinched more, the chest would come through faster through this way. But the arm is going up, and that's what we'll cover next, is have a high elbow. So firm front glove, that's something that we definitely need to work on. Instead of pinching down, I'm going to pinch this way so that the chest can rotate as well this way. So you're going to have a better ability to rotate. The drills from our knees are going to help as well. All right. So front glove, definitely something that we got to work on. Let's look at elbow. Right here, you can kind of see already both of the shoulder blades, both of the shoulders, and then off to the elbow. So what we have here is a high elbow. What's happening is, instead of having your elbow stay here and drive through, you're coming up, you're letting that elbow drive up, and I want you to drive through with that chest there. If you don't drive up, you're going to be able to get to that place faster, and that's why we have that such an early release point, is because the chest path is not ideal, and we just need to get better at the upper body rotating. So 75 miles an hour from your knees is where 90 miles an hour comes from. So we need to be able to throw from our knees very, very well, and that's going to clean up your chest. Once you do that, it's going to be a lot easier to throw the ball. So you do have a high elbow, so that's something that we need to work on. Let's look at the chest extension. So at the chest extension, you're about 42, which is actually pretty phenomenal. I'd like to see upper 40s, 50s, Granke's at like 52, or 52, somewhere in there. But you have a good chest extension, which is exactly what you need. So that's phenomenal. It's actually surprising how good your chest extension is with that elevated elbow. So if we fix that elbow, that chest extension is going to go to 50 plus, and then your release point is going to be further out. All of these things are going to change because you changed the backside. But I think a lot of it stems from your body's forward, and it's having to compensate, and so your elbow comes up. So the down the chain fixes up the up the chain. So we've got to change that posture, and then when that posture gets through, the chest extension is going to get better, the elbow is going to be a little bit lower, and then all of a sudden the release point gets out further. All these great things happen. Okay, so let's look at elbow. So this is maximum layback here. Take a cross section of your elbow, and let's see where this goes. So it's not bad. So see where that elbow is. The elbow is actually straight now. It's still straight. Still straight. Still straight. Still straight. I want this elbow to bend, and you're not bending it. That's a good rotation with your upper body, but your elbow's not bending. There's putting a lot of pressure on that elbow. So if we bring that elbow down, you have a high elbow. If you bring it down, and instead of coming up and go through, and keep this elbow bent, you're going to be able to have greater ability to rotate and throw harder with your arm. So I hope this stuff helps. All of this stuff is online at 212athlete.com. With the Arm Pro, you just click on the weaknesses. It has a description of the weakness, and then you'll have drills to fix each weakness. So thanks so much. Please don't hesitate to call me. More than happy to help you. Thanks.